said no.
Yes, enlightenment law. I remember that correctly. It would be wrong. Yes.
Derbyshire School District Board of Directors meeting for October the 10th to come to order. Mr. Enders, roll call.
Mr. Allen,
Present.
Mrs. Calhoun,
Here.
Ms. Dobler,
Here.
Miss Edwards,
Here.
Mrs. Grant,
Here.
Mr. Kinley,
Here.
Mrs. Petrosky,
Here.
Mrs. Stemler,
Here.
Mrs. Thomas,
Here.
all 9 members present.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know I don't have my mask on.
No kids here tonight. Wow. There's kids here. Kids here. Lead the pledge of allegiance.
All right, next we have communications, Dr. Almer.
I just want to point out to the board, I did put this in a weekly update to the board, but I want to say publicly that in policy, it says that the board and I will designate the location or locations of advertisements. And after discussion internally, I want to say publicly that the community will be able to find postings about board meetings and legal notices and vacancy notices in the Web Weekly. So I just want to say that publicly so that you're aware of it. We'll also post a notice on the website, but we have the authority to designate where those things are going to be happening as a group. Thank you.
All right, President's report, we had an executive session before the meeting starting at 5:45 for the purpose of legal personnel and safety. Also, I'd like to welcome our student rep, Kendall Eichenlaub. You may not realize it, but you may give a report or give commentation to us every board meeting, but you may not be ready for that tonight. If you're not, that's fine. IU report, Jesse?
Not at the moment. We have a meeting on Wednesday.
Kendall, do you have something for us tonight? Superintendent's report.
I'm going to start by recognizing Mrs. Deborah Bressler, who is a Spanish teacher in the high school. She's here to talk tonight to the board about a trip to Spain. So if you want to come up while she's getting ready, I'll point out that attached to tonight's agenda are 3 job descriptions, not there for action. They're just there for your information as we continue to work through job descriptions in the district. There are some that I presented last time that are on tonight for approval, but that's not these 3. So if you see anything on these 3 after tonight that you question, let me know prior to next agenda and I can make changes. But for right now, there's just 3 on there for you to review. Thank you for being here tonight, Mrs. Bressler.
It's nice to be here. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Deborah Bressler. I am a Spanish teacher at the high school. I would like to basically inform the board that we have a trip planned for the summer of 2023 to go to Spain. I am taking a group of 16 interested students that are basically, it's paid completely by the students, the parents, to there. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going to Spain, flying out of one of the New York City airports. And basically, the highlights are going to be in Malaga, Granada, Seville for us, Cordoba, Madrid, Barcelona, and then we'll be flying home. It's an 11-day trip that hopefully will be the highlight of a lot of teenagers' lives. One of the highlights that we're going to be doing is going to be, you see the Sagrada Familia. It's a church that has yet to be finished. And it is phenomenal in its architecture, and it still isn't finished. They're hoping that it's going to be done in about 50 years. Hopefully.
It's already been like 100.
It's super ornate, and they're just working on it. Another thing that they're doing is the same architect is he also did Park Gruel. He was also an architect in basically functional architecture, and he didn't do lines and do things. He was basically kind of curved, and he's an amazing artist. He died way before his time. One of the things we'll be doing is we'll be visiting the official residence of the Spanish royal family in Madrid. Another thing we're going to be doing is walking along the water in Sevilla at the Plaza de España. Also, we're doing a riverboat tour. We're going to also be at Granada. Granada was the last stronghold of the Moors, who were the Arabs who had invaded Spain and basically occupied there for 700 years. And the Christian kings, Isabella and Ferdinand, who sent Christopher Columbus west. Happy Columbus Day today. But anyway, but that's one of the things we do that. This is also another view of the Park Güell, which is in Barcelona. One of the things that we're going to be experiencing is the food. One of my favorite aspects of the tours is basically regional cuisine, and this is basically an example of what's called tapas. They also have what's called pinchos, which I fell in love with the last time I was in Spain. And it just opens the minds of, we're going to be going to see the Prado, which is an art museum. Blows my mind each time. If you can tell, I'm very excited about going. But they're having there. So the highlights beyond the sightseeing is participate in a scavenger hunt where they're going to need to use their Spanish in Granada. Visit an olive farm. Spain produces the majority of olives in the world, so we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be visiting a Moroccan tea house. Also, the kids are going to be taking a flamenco dance lesson. Can't wait for that. We're going to go on a river cruise to also sightsee, enjoy tapas and tunas. Dinner, participate in a cooking class with a chef, and also do a bike tour of Barcelona. So we have a window that we're going to be going in. It's anywhere between June 18th to July 2nd of 2023. As we get closer, about 90 days before, we'll find out the more specifics of when they have arranged with the airline, the hotels, the tour guide, which is with us 24/7. And, just in case anything happens and they, can make any connections that is necessary. Do you have any questions?
Have you done something like this before?
I was on a tour, but I was not the leader of the tour to Spain. However, I have led tours to Costa Rica twice.
As far as our students, though.
Yes,
Yes.
Jersey Shore students.
Okay.
Now, to be honest, any student can go. So, for example, if there was another student from a neighboring school district and they would get into contact with me, that is a possibility. Normally, it's just Jersey Shore students.
Yeah.
And I've had all of them, except for one.
Good.
They moved into the district, so.
Oh, good.
What about chaperones?
Chaperones, Miss Sarah Yorks, who is the other Spanish teacher, she is also planning on chaperoning. I normally have some adult travelers, but as of tonight, no one has expressed interest, but we do have 2 adult chaperones going with us.
Okay.
We might have a bus full.
Yeah.
I got canceled in high school. I think I redo.
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I had planned a trip to Peru this past summer, and it was also canceled because of difficulties with the government protesting, land and road blockages by not too happy truck drivers and agriculture people. So I had to cancel my Peru trip this summer. So, but it was, worldwide, it was kind of a mess. So it was okay.
I have a real quick question. When you said 16 students, I'm just curious what grades those consist of.
All the students are either sophomore, junior, or seniors. So they're basically, I would say basically 16 to 18 years of age. And I also did tell their parents that if they didn't trust them, not to send them. Because there will be times that they will be in groups. And I require that if they're going to go someplace, that they need to be in groups of 3 or more. And there are also, we normally are grouped with another school or 2, and there are other adults that are going to be on the trip and stuff like that. But there will be times when, like they, oh, I want to shop here, or I want to go into this shop here, or, well, I want to go in this restaurant while you guys go in that. There will be times for, that they will be separated. But, my requirement is that they have to use the buddy system with 3 or more students.
Other questions from the board? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The last thing on my report this evening is also attached. It is listed as AmeriCorps Seniors, MOU. The AmeriCorps office in Union County reached out to me because they're the office that holds the federal grant for an AmeriCorps Seniors program. For those of you that may be aware of it, it's been around for a while, but not in Lycoming County. Lycoming County didn't have that. They're expanding to Lycoming County. They approached me. This is typically, they call it AmeriCorps Seniors on all of their documentation, but I've known it for years as the foster grandparent program. It works similar to our current AmeriCorps agreement, meaning that it's federally funded. There is some in-kind participation that the district is required. One of the conversations that I had with them is, since these people are here every day and our building principals would be their supervisor, we can prorate the amount of time that we are giving them supervision, and that can be part of the in-kind requirements that the district has. So you'll see that noted in the agreement. Essentially, again, this is federally funded. The people that volunteer, they call them volunteers, but if they volunteer to do this, they do get a payment. That is noted in the agreement as well. They would have to be cleared by the foster grandparent program, just like anybody else working in a school district does. They would report here. They would work with our students. We would supervise them. There is a pre and a post-test requirement of the classroom or the small group of kids that they're working with to show that in that grant they are making a difference with children. I think it's a great idea for the district to get additional adult support. These could be used in virtually any classroom in the district. One of the things that I saw in my past was they typically will ask the person, what do you prefer? Do you prefer elementary or middle school or high school? And they will try and place them with us accordingly. It is attached tonight on my report. It is not on the agenda tonight for approval because I wanted to talk about it first. Does anybody have any questions?
Did you say who gets paid?
The person that is coming in every day does get paid, but not by us. They get paid from the agency that's placing them.
And they have to have their clearances and things.
You mean
too.
like, when you say the person, you mean the foster grandparent
Mhm.
gets paid?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was volunteer, I didn't realize.
They call them AmeriCorps calls them volunteers, but there is a payment.
Oh, well, that's nice, I mean, I'm sure, hopefully we would get a lot of people to participate, because I know a lot of volunteers that used to come in back when they used to have, Burke Francis was one, I mean, Mrs. Cody that was excellent program, you know, and then they stopped doing that. I don't know why, but
It's a similar idea.
yeah, that's good.
My question is, they do all the clearances. Do they give us a copy of the clearances so we know that there wasn't anything that was missed? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, that's my report.
Moving on to the next section, which is courtesy of the floor, and there's no one signed up, so we'll continue on. Letter D is personnel. We have appointment of Judy Packer to event staff. We have administrative assistant to the superintendent's job description, school building secretary job description, energy leader job description to be approved tonight. Granting tenure to Sarah Yorks and Jacob Manival. There's an FMLA leave for employee. Professional staff to work for the 21st Century After School Program at $30 per hour, and support staff to work for $15 per hour for the 2022-2023 school year. This is a federal grant, and that's dictated in the grant. Correction to the middle school choir director stipend. Correction to the middle school energy leader stipend. Appointment of Reed Millinger as game staff. Appointment of Kimberly Holter to administrative assistant to the superintendent position effective October the 31st. A temporary hourly rate of $17.25 to Jordan Bauer for acting as the Derbyshire Elementary assistant. Head cook beginning Tuesday, October the 11th. Appointment of Joshua Smith as assistant middle school girls basketball coach. Appointment of Richard McAllister as a maintenance person effective October 24th. Appointment of Samantha Reinhardt as a full-time special education paraprofessional effective October the 11th. Caitlin Rhea as a van driver for Aid for Windecker Enterprise, and accepting a letter of resignation from Heather Garrett, custodian at Salisbury Elementary. May I have a motion for A through R?
Motion.
Second.
Questions?
Is the maintenance person hire seemed like in your last Friday's update, is there another opening at this point, or?
There are still custodial openings.
That's right.
This was the only maintenance opening.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, custodian.
Any other questions?
I have a question with B and F. Is it always just 3 years when a teacher is eligible for tenure? Is that the normal time limit for a school teacher?
School code.
Okay. Okay, that's the state, right? Okay.
It's not only 3 years, there's credits that they have to obtain during that period of time too, but it is school code.
Like to get a master's?
No, they don't have to gain
They
a
don't have to
master's.
get a master's. Okay. That can come later.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye. Not in favor, like sign. Motion carries. Moving into curriculum and instruction, letter E, there's no discussion or action. Letter F, building and grounds, there's no discussion or action. And finance, no discussion or action. That one I'm writing down on my calendar because I don't think I've ever saw that one.
Beats me to be the bad guy.
I know it's not the bad guy, it's good we don't have to talk about finance. Letter H, miscellaneous. We have a 5-year guaranteed admissions agreement between the Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania, which includes Bloomsburg, Lock Haven, and Mansfield. And there's scholarships attached to that, so students that plan on going to any of those should look at that. Policy 611, purchase is budgeted as the second reading. Policy 913.1, sponsorships and advertising at the first reading. An authorization of the board secretary to cast a school district vote for the slate of candidates running for PSBA office. Does that have to be separate, Ben?
No.
Lawyer's saying no. Okay.
No, I wanted to just change the last one, that and/or should be, I don't think that should be there. It should probably just be an and.
Oh, and, okay,
Because there's two and they can vote for two.
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Should be, here you could do one and not the other, but I will say no one said anything to me about abstaining, so I'm assuming everybody's gonna be good with the candidate.
May I have a motion for A through D?
Second.
Mrs. Bennett.
Just the end.
What do you say?
I can't tell whoever's the second.
I'm in your sound waves.
Do we have any questions on this? Good opportunities. All right, hearing no questions, all those in favor, aye. All those not in favor, like sign. Motion carries. Letter I, old business of which there is none.
Something else, how did is everything all done like with the HVAC with the steam?
They were firing boilers today. I talked to Mr. Wall. So if there's any adjustments that need to happen, they'll happen after today, but they were firing today.
And did it get all taken care of with the fire alarm that was going?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, okay, thanks.
Firing the boilers today. Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Okay. What was the question you asked me about today? Courtesy of the floor. This courtesy of the floor will be for public comment on non-agenda items. State your name, address, and identify what you'd like to address, and you will have 3 minutes. So anyone would like to take courtesy of the floor?
Students respect.
Merle Schweitzer, Mifflin Township. The first thought that came to my mind tonight was, wonder what the fund balance is as of today.
As of today,
Yes,
I can give it to you as of today. I can give it to you what we projected it to be at the end of the budget cycle, and I can give it to you where we are, where we were at the end of the audit. I will tell you, I believe we're going to come close to being in line where we were projected to be when we were doing the budget for this year.
no, I just want to know what the fund balance is now. If you have that information.
He's going to give you an approximation.
It was up to 6 million and between 2 million and 6 million, then it dropped down because you took $1.5 million out for the HVAC project, and I'm just curious to what the balance is now. But if you can't tell me. The next item,
It is
I'm-
approximately about $7.2 million, Mr. Schweitzer.
it's up to 7.
And then,
Okay,
yes,
so you're good shape.
we're working on it.
Is that after the 1.5 million?
Yes, that was going into this fiscal year.
Right.
So we, at the end of the fiscal year, we were projected to be just shy of 5.9 million.
Okay, thank you. I was talking to someone, but I don't remember who it was, but they mentioned to me that we're no longer teaching the times table in JSASD. And I wondered if that's true or not, the times table. I still, that 87 have to multiply, add, subtract, and divide in my head. That doesn't say too much, but if I didn't memorize my times tables in 3rd grade, I might be having a problem. So my question, is that true or not?
I'm not sure I know if that's accurate, Mr. Schweitzer. I mean, I've been in elementary classrooms and seen number grids on the wall, so I gotta believe we're still teaching kids how to multiply using the number grid.
Okay, thank you. And the last thing I had was status of the HVAC project and whether it was online and that we were heating and bringing in outside air into all the classrooms in the high school and the middle school? And the answer to my question is yes.
And I talked to Mr. Wall this afternoon, and he said that things were still warm, so I think we're in good shape.
Somebody went by the middle school and the fire alarm was going off. And I wondered, well, I wonder why the fire alarm was going off. And I don't know why the fire alarm was going off.
We do, and we fixed it.
But did it have to do with the startup of the boiler, or was it related to the
No.
boiler?
Nope, it was not related. We thought it was, but it was not.
Okay, all right. Well, that HVAC project was a tremendous accomplishment. And I hope you appreciate what the people that were responsible, what they did. I mean, to me, it was unbelievable accomplishment, because I didn't think you'd be able to do it in the time that was allotted. So I hope that it is successful, that we don't have problems with it, and then it serves us well.
We hope the same.
And the only other point I would make, the boilers that took out, I understand they were about 40, they've been in service for 40 years, but most of our boilers operate actually 6 months out of 12. But the architects determined that the life expectancy of our boilers was 40 years. But I noted that the life expectancy of our new boilers is 20 years. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
I think one of the board members asked that question to someone that should have known the answer. So the new boilers look like a type of the 20-year longevity versus the normal 40-year longevity. But the new boilers are 90% efficient, where the old boilers are 80% efficient. Well, there should be some energy savings with these new boilers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others for courtesy of the floor? Seeing none, we will close courtesy of the floor. There will be an executive session after the meeting in which nothing will be voted on. And so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
I'll second.
This meeting is adjourned.
No,